It could be really bad.
Okay. I didn't have coffee this morning. I need to pep it up.
Sorry. My bad.
Don't apologize. No, that's good.
Are we even recording this? Is that what you mean? Okay.
All right. Oh, whoops. All right. Well, let's get started. So we're going to get started by saying a little bit about ourselves.
My name's Cole O'Brien, and I'm a senior here at Hamline University, and I'm majoring in digital media arts with a focus in video production and video editing.
My name is Ellie, and I'm a senior at Hamline, majoring in marketing.
My name is Stuart, and I'm a senior at Hamline, majoring in communication studies.
My name is Lizzie. I am a senior at Hamline University, and I'm majoring in English and education with a minor in social justice.
My name's Casey, and I'm a junior at Hamline, and I'm majoring in communication studies.
My name is Kenzie, and I'm a senior at Hamline, majoring in communications. This video will show our group's dynamics and different aspects of our group.
In this video, we're going to interlace skits and interviews together to explain and demonstrate our group cohesiveness.
We'll show the good and bad of the culture of the group, both socially and academically.
We will discuss the leadership in our group,
Decision making,
Communication patterns,
Our social norms,
as well as
our conflict and tension management. Throughout this video, you will also be able to see the change in tension and leadership.
the change in our leadership roles, and how these changes made our group come together.
Sit back and enjoy this Green Legos production.
the following is based on true events and experiences of the group.
The experiences depicted in the film took place in Minnesota in 2015.
Out of respect for the group and the individuals involved,
The exact situations have been modified for entertainment purposes.
enjoy.
The first time we came together as a group was, well, it was awkward to say the least.
Yeah, awkward.
It was definitely awkward. I didn't know anyone in the group, so we just all had to come together and figure it out.
I didn't know anyone in our group before we first met.
I had seen some of my group members around campus before, but I was super excited that my friend Casey was put into the same group.
Ellie and I have known each other for years, so I was really excited that we were in the same group.
Kenzie and I were in a FISEM together, so we've known each other since then.
Cole and I were in a group a few years ago, so it was great to reunite.
We all sat down unsure on what we were supposed to accomplish.
I was very confused.
I felt like I should say something, but before I could, Casey grabbed the reins.
Yeah, Casey was almost overly enthusiastic about getting us started.
Casey stepped forward as the leader of our group to get us started and to lift our spirits.
Casey helped our group become comfortable right off the bat.
Early on, one of the first things we had to decide was where was going to be our meeting spot.
Casey and I decided to go to the meeting spot right away.
We knew all the good spots would have been taken if we didn't move quick, so trying to make a decision with primary attention would have taken forever.
I had no idea where the group was going. I could only find Cole.
I didn't care where we were going, I just followed along.
I don't really see why this matters. It seemed like a really minor decision.
The decision making set a standard for the group. We all just followed along with what was said.
As soon as we were told to pick a spot, Casey and I looked at each other and knew exactly where we were going.
It just seemed like a logical place to have a meeting.
It was kind of like information overload. There were so many things happening.
This was the start of our decision making. And throughout the semester, when we made a lot of decisions, everyone just kind of followed along unless there was a large discrepancy against it.
This was so minor, it didn't seem like anyone in our group cared.
I sure didn't. I was just along for the ride.
We could all tell this was Ellie and Casey's favorite spot on campus, but for the rest of the semester, they included us in the decision-making process.
I felt bad not getting everybody's opinion, so later on when we had to make decisions that everybody cared about, we had to use the complex cyclic pathway.
We go around and discuss the problem and figure out what the best solutions are for the whole group.
We now work as a team.
Some groups might not look at this as a positive, but in my opinion, the best part of our group is that we try to avoid confrontation.
Yeah, I hate confrontation.
I find it refreshing that the awkwardness never really impacted our group.
I think of it like soccer. When the coach takes a player out, in our group, it wouldn't matter who came in for them. We'd always look at it in a positive way and it would benefit the group either way. In the first few meetings, I felt like there was a lot of primary tension.
The group struggled with primary tension, but not so much me and Ellie because we already knew each other.
I already knew Casey, so I felt pretty comfortable with our group.
At the start, I think a few group members were probably less vocal just because of the primary tension they were feeling.
Casey seemed most comfortable in the beginning with the primary tension, but over time, I became more comfortable leading the group.
I did not like the awkwardness at first.
I really struggled with the anxiety at the start of it. I really don't like icebreakers, and kind of meeting new people is a struggle for me at times.
I wanted to try and take the lead at first to help break the tension. I think it helped everybody feel a bit more comfortable.
Casey was doing most of the talking, but I did my best to chime in and contribute.
I noticed a lot of nonverbal communication. People would be tapping their pens or struggling to keep eye contact with each other.
I too noticed that group members struggled to keep eye contact.
I felt the need to break the primary tension, so I used a little bit of humor. And then, from then on, I was considered the funny guy.
On the first day, I showed up to work hard and get a good grade in this class.
I'm a very technology-oriented person, so I felt as a digital media arts major, I could bring this tool to our group's tool set.
I know I can talk a lot, which, I guess it helps break the tension.
I hate public speaking, but I am a hard worker.
I was really lost.
I felt lost from the start.
I stepped up to the plate multiple times to show that I could be a good leader.
Everyone looks at me as kind of the funny guy in the group, and so because of this, I think I started to emerge as a potential leader.
I didn't necessarily want to be the leader. With this class, I feel like I would have been a bit overwhelmed, but I know my skills and I know I could have been a great support system, or still can be a great support system for those around me.
I had a feeling Kenzie or Cole was going to emerge as the leader.
I was just really lost, and to be honest, I was hoping I wouldn't be assigned anything.
I'm busy enough as it is. Being a leader wasn't even on my radar.
Without voicing it, I just kind of took a step back and let Kenzie take over as the leader.
I always saw a little bit of myself in Kenzie. I feel like her as a leader, she had a lot of skills and brought a lot to the table that I would have brought. So I wanted to endorse her and help support her throughout the process when we were trying to find a leader. And so by doing that, I feel like everyone else started supporting her as well. And when she won, I felt great because I felt like I got to be her right-hand cheerleader, and I won as well.
I noticed she was really organized and it was really easy to trust her.
Although I didn't feel like I knew what was going on most of the time, I did feel that Kenzie did, and that made me feel much more comfortable.
I've known Kenzie since we were both in the same FISEM together, so I had a lot of faith in her and knowing that she would get us a good grade in the course.
Our group always had a clear goal, and that was to get a good grade. Kenzie knew that and made it happen.
I have a very busy schedule outside of class this semester, and so I knew that if I emerged as the leader, I was going to have a very laid-back approach to the class. So it was great that Kenzie was able to step forward.
Being the group leader is a lot of work, but it's nice having Casey there cheering me on the entire way. I was surprised Cole handed me the leadership position, but it all worked out for the best.
I appreciate that she had a democratic style of leadership. She encourages participation and responsibility from all group members.
Kenzie did a great job of leading by example. Any time that we needed somebody to step up, she would do it. I think this really helped us all respect her.
Cole is the one that we all look to give us the comic relief.
We can always count on Cole to say something funny in an awkward situation.
Sometimes we really had awkward silence and we needed someone like Cole to lighten it up. Because of this, we hardly ever had primary attention, and that helped our group conform.
Cole was a harmonizer from the start. During our first meeting, he made a joke about making a human pyramid for our presentation, and we all thought it was pretty funny.
I guess I'm just a pretty funny person.
He uses sarcasm a lot.
Yeah, it's a good thing that our group understands sarcasm because that's a technique that Cole tends to use. We use it a lot when talking about other groups and how we're not going to be like them.
Basically, my strategy is to find things that we can all relate to and make fun of it. It sounds horrible, but hey, it works.
It's a bonding technique of ours. One day we were in the library and there was this kid sleeping, and nobody said anything, but everybody noticed it. Then Cole brought it up, and we've referred to it so many times now. It breaks tension, and it was a humorous time.
He keeps the group on our toes. We never know what he is going to say.
He has helped create some of our fondest group memories.
So this one time, Cole showed up to our meeting with a large McFlurry. Everyone commented on how jealous they were, and he just kind of stood there and was like, "Don't judge me, this is my dinner."
Yeah, I guess you really had to be there for that one, but I promise it was a good one.
He really does a great job of capitalizing on prime joke opportunities.
Thanks, I try.
He makes connections that are random and hilarious.
Yeah, one day he pointed out that somebody in our class looks like a celebrity, and I found it hilarious. And then later on we connected it to a South Park reference, and I appreciate jokes like this. It was kind of a double whammy and really just was a thoughtful joke that I appreciated.
Having jokes keeps our cohesiveness high, so thanks, Cole.
Let's be honest, I hate mornings, but with Cole there, it makes it a little bit more bearable.
Yeah, I tend to think I've got a good sense of humour until I met Cole.
Before this, I came into this class as kind of a lone wolf. But when I met my small group, I knew I had found my pack. They loved my sarcasm. It was so great.
Ellie tends to be the one that gives us the information we need.
There are times where a group is always like thinking and trying to find an answer, and eventually Ellie will always just take her book out and look it up.
To be honest, I never wanted to get my book out, so it was helpful that Ellie did it. That was very useful.
I feel like Lizzie and I work really well together as she's the information seeker and I'm the information giver, so she asks the questions and I go find the information that's necessary.
This is really important to our group because that way we know people aren't just making information up and just sharing their own opinions.
Ellie and I feed off of each other pretty well. I come up with things that we need and then she's the go-getter.
She seems to always be that person that's like looking things up or like trying to learn more about a subject that we bring up when we're having our group meetings. It's kind of like a game of fetch. You dangle the information in front of her and Ellie will retrieve the information for us and really dig deeper into the subject.
Yeah, I feel like we get a deeper knowledge and understanding of the topic as she probes us to get more information.
Sometimes it feels like she's showering us with information.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm getting rich off of all the information that Ellie is throwing at me.
It's nice having someone to back me up. When we're stuck or don't have any more information, Ellie's always a go-to person and can help us out.
It reminds me of that Rihanna song. It's kind of like, Ellie better have my info. Ellie better have my info.
Yeah, Ellie will serve that information to you straight up.
Ellie always completes this task, which gives our group maximum productivity during our meetings.
She always has the information we need at the right moment, and if we don't have it, she's really willing to find it quickly and effectively.
As the group leader, this is helpful. I can keep the meetings moving along, but without external information, our meetings are really inefficient and move at a much slower pace.
Yeah, for me, Ellie played an important role. I was lost in many meetings and didn't give in much information, so without her information, I feel we'd have been kept behind.
Roles are important. I really wish we would have established them sooner. Looking back and seeing how well Ellie and I worked together, I think it would have been really helpful for our group if we would have figured that out sooner.
Everyone in our group is really important, but Ellie has just gotten us so much information through the group, and let alone her team spirit is amazing. So she really helped us realize that we're all in this together.
Isn't that a High School Musical reference?
Well, this is getting awkward, but Ellie, you are truly a diamond in the rough and a valuable member to our group.
The rest of the group came to the conclusion that I play the role of the devil's advocate, which I guess does make sense.
Lizzie didn't really talk a lot during our group meetings. It always seemed like she was paying attention. She was just quiet for the most part.
I have another class with Lizzie this semester, and every once in a while we talk about small group communication, and she still plays the devil's advocate even outside of class.
I labeled Lizzie as the devil's advocate because she always was kind of on the opposing side when she did speak up, and so that kind of helped our group throughout creating our outline.
When Casey first brought up the fact that I was the devil's advocate, I was kind of taken aback. I think it usually has a negative connotation. But thinking about it, that's what I try to do in groups. When too many people are always talking, I feel like it hinders the productivity of the group. And so I try to just stay quiet and speak up when I feel necessary.
Because of what she brings to our group, she was able to point out a side of an argument that none of us had even thought of.
She never really just seemed to say stuff for the sake of saying it. She always seemed to have a reason.
Basically, I'm awesome. I just keep it on the DL.
When Lizzie speaks up, we know it's insightful and that we should listen.
She always thinks of things from kind of a different perspective than the rest of us, and that always gives us really good insight.
She's the type of friend that will always give you an honest opinion. Like, do these pants make my butt look too big? You can always count on Lizzie to give you the honest opinion.
Once Lizzie warmed up to us and started giving us her opinion, this really helped the social dimension of our group.
Yeah, because for a while, I think that everyone just thought that she didn't want to talk, and then all of a sudden, Lizzie spoke, and it changed everything.
It became a norm that Lizzie would always give her honest opinion and let us know exactly what she's thinking, and that's something our group really valued.
Yeah, and that's how Lizzie entered her devil's advocate role.
I think that Stuart and Lizzie felt a little isolated from the beginning because they ended up joining the class later on.
I joined the class late, so I felt like I had no idea what was going on with this project.
Yeah, myself and Lizzie entered the group slightly later than everyone else, and I feel that put us behind.
I never even realized that Stuart and Lizzie were the isolate of the group. It wasn't intentional at all.
I tried to offer help to the rest of my group members if they were struggling or needed a little bit more help, but no one really vocalized that they needed this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I feel like I'm normally the funny guy in most groups, but that role was already taken by Cole, so I didn't really feel like I could fit in there. So basically, I kind of felt like an isolate. I didn't really know how to work my way into the group.
Part of me wondered if certain group members just didn't want to contribute.
Yeah, it was really difficult for me. I didn't know if I should say to the group that I was struggling, because everyone else seemed to understand the material pretty easy.
I feel like as the class went on, Lizzie caught up to the rest of us and wasn't as isolated anymore.
You could say that. I think it's always hard to join a group late because everyone else kind of has set in their roles while you're trying to figure out where you fit into that group dynamic.
Once the professor told us that our outline was done wrong, it created a lot of secondary tension between group members.
It was frustrating because I had worked so hard to catch up with what the rest of the group was doing. Then to find out that we had been doing it completely wrong was really stressful.
It was a little awkward after that because we all felt like we needed to step up and give 100% to the group.
One time, Stuart was late because of a coaching meeting for soccer. I think that caused a little bit of secondary tension, but no one was really mad at him. We were just trying to get the project back on track.
I think no matter what, there's always going to be secondary tension within a group. You're never going to be assigned to a group where everyone has the exact same opinions.
We were pretty lucky with our group. Other than the first meeting, we really didn't have a lot of tension.
Having Cole be funny all the time really eased a lot of tension that could have developed.
I know that really helped me feel a little better when the project started getting stressful.
At every group meeting, Kenzie was the one to get the recorder out and she was always ready to go.
I'm the one who holds on to our precious recorder. Without me, we would fail this class.
Nobody really cared who was going to have the recorder at the beginning of the semester.
I made eye contact with Kenzie because she was at the end desk and it just made sense for her to go grab it.
Nobody else was going to get the recorder, so the responsibility kind of just stuck with me.
That's just how our group makes decisions, whatever's convenient.
We just expect her to have the recorder and to start the recorder at each meeting.
She records it and she uploads it. She does it all.
It's pretty great because we know there's a set person to complete this task. She's the one responsible for bringing it and then uploading it.
It's an explicit norm in our group. Everybody's kind of decided that this is a norm in our group, and Kenzie always steps up and takes care of it.
This norm was regulated outside of our group because someone else had told us that we needed to record each of our meetings.
It does help us when we need to go back and refer to something in a meeting.
She doesn't always upload them right away, but we don't really care. We all kind of tend to write our logs last minute anyways.
I'm really glad that we only have Kenzie that's in charge of the recorder, because if all of us were having to do it, it would get very complicated.
Yeah, nobody would ever know whose day it was to record and the recorder would just get lost.
Growing up, I always had coaches telling me to know my role, but I've also found it really important to know what your role will never be. Like, I'll never be the middle blocker on a volleyball team, and it just isn't in the cards for me, and I've learned to accept that. So in a group, I know I'm never going to be the tech star, and that's okay. I've learned to accept that too.
I can't get my home Wi-Fi to work half the time, let alone having the group rely on me for computer stuff.
I stepped up to upload the group meetings, but this was about as far as my tech skills would go.
Give me an Xbox controller and I can light up the field any day on FIFA 2015, but give me a mouse, no way. I get performance anxiety.
If I end up being a teacher one day, I have every intention of using a whiteboard instead of a smartboard.
I guess this is why I'm important to the group.
Cole is a different breed, a majestic one that is really rare, but when is found is extremely useful.
Yeah, it'd be really easy to see someone like Cole as like a tech nerd, but to be honest, without him in our group, we'd really struggle.
Sometimes, I even feel like Liam Neeson's from the movie Taken when I see a computer issue. I always think to myself, I don't know what the problem is, I don't know why it's happening, but if it looks like it's going to take forever, I can tell you I don't have time. But what I can tell you is that I have a very particular set of skills. Skills that are acquired over a long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for a computer and tech problems like you. If you let me solve it, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will delete you.
That's why we decided to do a video. We all believe in Cole's ability and knew he was ready for the challenge.
It's amazing how much work goes into making a video. I've been very impressed with Cole's technology ability. He's like the Michael Jordan of technology.
Yeah, it's super useful when Cole gets on his laptop. He can handle any tech issue that we can ever imagine.
Whenever I'm put into a group, I always try to put myself in that technology role because that's what's easiest for me and I feel the most comfortable. And other people, they seem to think that I'm benefiting the group a lot, but to me, it's just normal.
It definitely makes our group appreciate Cole. His role was the second one to emerge, and it really made us stop and think about if we all bring our strengths to the table, we can have a really successful group.
Cole's been a lifesaver throughout our project. It's really nice to not have to worry about the formatting and only have to worry about the content.
Yeah, it was super useful having Cole. He did all our tech issues, he formatted our outline, he made this entire video. It's like having a pro at your fingertips.
I think everyone really appreciates Cole. He has all of this knowledge that the rest of us just don't have.
Cole, we really hit the jackpot with you.
Thanks, Cole.
I might just cry.
Our leadership has stayed pretty consistent over our time together. Kenzie has been leading us most of the time.
I like to lead by example and be efficient in meetings. I want everyone to have a good time and really feel like they can participate in the group.
At our first meeting when we had our articles due, Kenzie had an outline for every single article uploaded on Google Docs, and this made it really easy for the group to understand what was going on when she was explaining them, and also showed us how prepared she was.
She is a nice balance of social and task efficiency in our group. She's always curious as to what's going on in our lives outside of our group.
We all tend to follow Kenzie's lead. She gets her work done on time and does it in a way that we can all understand.
We all tend to follow how Kenzie acts. If she's laughing, we're laughing.
Kenzie can come off as laid back, but she definitely has a democratic style of leadership. She always makes sure that we know what to do and when to do it.
I just want everyone to participate and do their best.
Kenzie does a really good job of making sure we're all involved in the discussion. What I also like as well is she always asks us before we make a decision.
She is a competent communicator too. She coaches us through how to get everything accomplished.
I'm willing to take the time to help anyone who may need additional help.
I can tell Kenzie really wants our group to do well. She'll take the time to make sure that we have the skills we need, even if we have no idea what we're doing.
Some days we can be really productive, but there are those days that we are not, and Kenzie's really good at generating the ideas to help us move forward.
She's a good motivator too. She keeps us on track when we're really tired or when we get distracted, which happens a lot. But I remember this one time when someone was late to a meeting and she just kind of greeted them and then kept the group meeting going on as normal.
She also took a lot of notes. It was really helpful to look back on.
Kenzie's a fantastic leader for our group. Her leadership style really matches our group climate.
Our group is very chill. Everyone just kind of goes with the flow. So competition between roles or anything like that never really happened.
Our group has experienced competition, however, it hasn't been with each other.
The competition between other group members was pretty non-existent, but our real competition was against all of you other groups in the class, because we were the best, and it was clearly obvious.
In a majority of our group meetings, we would talk about what we heard from other groups and then discuss how we were better in every single way.
Our group was really concerned with being better than all of the other groups. Honestly, I don't really get that. As long as we passed, I'm good. It's whatever. Who cares about how the other groups do? But low-key, our group is definitely the best.
I agree with Lizzie. I really want a good grade in this class, but I feel the competition with other groups really helps us strive towards this.
I think it just gave our group an incentive. We just wanted to be better than the other groups.
I know for me, just settling for a decent grade isn't gonna cut it. I have a winner's attitude and wanna win all the time, even though it's not a competition.
I not only want to do better than the other groups to get a better grade, but because it helps our group synergy. It allows us to have a common goal that we all want to obtain.
The ripple effect was definitely evident at this point because other people in the group were not as competitive as, say, myself or Casey against the other groups. But as we started to talk about it and discuss it, everyone else in the group became very competitive against all of you other groups. I pointed at the camera again to see them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a really competitive guy, obviously from playing soccer and coaching it. I really liked the idea how that was brought into the classroom environment. It really helped us push each other and then try and challenge our teammates, and I got to bring out my true competitive side.
I'm not the most competitive person out there, but I do think that it really helped our group. It was a great tension reliever and we had a lot of fun with it.
I think that's exactly it. We aren't trying to get the other groups to hate us, but it does keep our group moving in a positive direction.
Honestly, I think the best part of any experience is that moment when everybody is overcome with laughter and you just can't control it.
So Cole has probably the most jokes in the groups, and we all agree that he's really funny, but I think we've all had our moments that made us all crack up.
We have a really high tolerance level for tension. The fact that we can all laugh together and make jokes with each other has helped break our primary tension and has really kept the tension pretty minimal throughout the rest of the semester.
The night before our presentation, there was a lot of laughing. We were getting stuff done because there was so much pressure on our project, but as soon as one person would start laughing, everyone would start laughing.
Laughing in our group really seems contagious. Lizzie has this laugh where she'll start off like kind of quiet and she'll keep laughing, and then all of a sudden it'll get super loud and it's impossible to not laugh along with her.
Jazz fingers.
Now just circle it.
Can we like use this as a contagious laugh?
Yes?
For me, there weren't all that many distractions that kept me away from being able to contribute to the group.
Except for that one time that guy fell asleep in the library and could not stop snoring.
Yeah. That was really funny when that kid was sleeping the whole time. I just could not get it out of my head, and I think that I probably made too many jokes about it because we got a little off task.
We all stopped and laughed for a good 15 minutes about a guy sleeping in the library. And we laughed and we judged, and it sounds awful, but can you all tell me you haven't done something similar?
That's because he was snoring so loudly that none of us could even hear each other.
I know that it was tough for me to focus. A lot of the times I would leave from soccer practice or a meeting with the coach, and then it was really tough to kind of sit down and grasp the material. It was kind of tough to switch gears, you know?
Or even that one time when he had to miss a funeral for someone he knew because of a group meeting, that must have been tough.
Yeah, sadly one of the times we had a meeting, one of the parents on my team that I coached passed away, and the funeral was that night, and I attended the class group meeting. It was really a struggle that night to keep focused. It was tough.
I'm just glad Stuart decided not to leave the group hanging and chose the group first.
Other than that, I didn't feel like there was that many distractions for our group.
Yeah, I'd say we got pretty lucky.
Sometimes I come up with these amazing ideas that no one seems to get or thinks is that cool.
Yeah, Casey and I are friends, but she can be kind of crazy sometimes.
I like weird, creative ideas.
Our group often comes up with some really awesome ideas, and we tend to get a little excited about it.
Sometimes I feel like the group just needs to think things through. I always try to reel us in, but sometimes they're just too far gone.
So Lizzie is often the voice of reason or the devil's advocate to some, and it's nice because it helps us avoid biased situations.
Looking back, I guess you could say that I got pretty distracted during some of the meetings. One time I saw a giraffe in a tree. It was a stuffed animal, but
Yeah, that conversation unfortunately dragged on for about 10 minutes.
Oh, all the memories of our group. I remember the one night when we were preparing for our first presentation, and Casey had decided that we should bring in mugs for our presentation and cheers at the end. It was definitely another group fantasy of ours.
I actually really enjoyed the coffee mug group fantasy, so I just let that one keep going.
I love coffee.
Groupthink is definitely always present at our meetings because we don't really have anyone that enjoys confrontation.
We would always be on a roll in our group meetings and thinking we were on the right track and super confident about what we were doing.
So even when we felt confident, the professor would sometimes give us the unfortunate news we're heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, we were never on our high horse for long.
Learning to walk away was sometimes hard for our group, but we had to learn that all shiny objects aren't always worth buying.
Just like all project ideas aren't always A+ ideas, we now accept that this is okay.
Even though Casey might have still been in denial, we all kind of came to the conclusion that maybe it wasn't gonna be as funny as we thought it would be.
I still would have wanted to bring mugs.
Casey, get over it and move on.
Trying to find the time to meet outside of class was a terrible process. We were all very busy people with work, class and other stuff going on. We were 6 very busy people.
The group members that have jobs outside of school had a much harder time because it was just one more thing for them to focus on.
We ended up making a Google Calendar for our group so that we could figure out when we were all available. We knew we wouldn't be able to get everything done just in the group meetings.
I actually have never used Google Calendar before this group, so trying to figure out how to use that was definitely an experience.
Looking at our Google Calendar was one of the most stressful things I've done to myself this semester. Looking at my own is bad enough, but then once you had everybody's in there was only 2 or 3 times that we could all meet, and they were all after 7 o'clock.
If we had any tension, scheduling outside of class meetings was probably where that happened. But even so, everyone was really flexible with schedules.
From the start, it was clear that everyone in our group was very busy. I work 40 hours a week on top of school. Casey and Ellie are both in hockey all the time. Lizzie has all kinds of meetings. Stuart's a soccer coach. And so it was obvious that coming up with a schedule was going to be very difficult.
It would have been nice if none of us needed sleep and we could just meet at like 2 a.m. That would have been ideal.
I think it's safe to say that we've been looking to Kenzie as our leader for quite some time now.
It all started out with her being the one to carry the recorder.
Yeah, and don't forget her plugging her computer in every time.
Kenzie emerged as a leader, and it was clear that we all looked to her for guidance. Literally.
Whenever we get stuck and it gets awkward, we all just sit and stare at Kenzie, which is kind of creepy now that I think about it.
When I look up and see everyone just staring at me, I know we're at a complete standstill and I have to get everyone back on track.
I think it's just our way of showing her that she needs to help us out, or we're just going to sit here awkwardly.
Thank goodness we have someone that we see as a leader, otherwise we would just spend our entire time looking off into space.
I sometimes do that anyway, but for sure, Kenzie's our leader, and a great one at that.
One time I joked that maybe we should all give Kenzie a back massage because of all the heavy lifting that she does for our group.
I guess I would be what you would call an MVP. A back massage would be a great reward.
Yeah, to me, Kenzie related a lot to like a sports captain.
Yeah, Kenzie is like the captain of our team.
If our group was a computer, I guess Kenzie would probably be the motherboard, because she's always fending off viruses, and without her, our computer would have a complete malfunction.
Her democratic style really keeps us all engaged, and she encourages us to participate in every meeting.
Kenzie and President Obama are really similar, as in like Obama runs the USA and Kenzie runs the green Legos.
Okay, well, one of the best teachers I've ever had was Professor Corgan, and I see a lot of Kenzie in her. Corgan was always tough, but she taught us a lot about leadership and small group work. And Kenzie is always there helping us learn more about our group project.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement.
I agree. If our group was an Ugg boot, Kenzie would be the thread that keeps us together.
Just to make another comparison, I guess if Kenzie was a scrapbook, she'd probably be the binding that keeps our pages together.
If Kenzie was a Starbucks tumbler, she would be the steel walls keeping the heat in to keep the drink enjoyable.
I agree. If Kenzie was a country, I guess she'd be probably Scotland, due to the fact that it's the best.
Wow, this is getting really flattering and all, but I think it's time to get this video back on track.
Our group is very relaxed. I don't think I've seen anyone get mad at even at one little thing.
Yeah, we have a positive group climate because we all feel valued and supported.
We all know our roles and what we need to get done each meeting. There are clear norms that help keep things fair.
There isn't really any kind of competition between our group. Everyone's really chill, and to be honest, everyone helps each other out.
Nobody manipulates the group, and there doesn't seem to be any interferences within the group either.
In my opinion, everyone is definitely treated equal in the group. We want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and also involved.
Our group is really cohesive. We talk about stuff outside of our group work.
I feel valued, liked, supported, and accepted in our group.
We praise each other on our accomplishments, both inside and outside of class.
Yeah, the group congratulated me on my new job for next year. It was really great to have all of their support.
Yeah, even though I was struggling with the material, the group would still always ask me how soccer was going. That really made me feel connected to the group.
I'm really glad we have a great group climate. It makes working together really fun.
I hate to say it, but when I found out that Lizzie and Stuart kind of had no idea what we were doing in our project when we were like 3/4 of the way through, I found it a little funny. Sounds bad, but...
Yeah, to be honest, I was really shocked, but it all made sense once they said that.
I was just kind of confused why they didn't say anything to us for us to help them get back on track.
Yeah, but if you think about it, that's just their personality. They didn't want to be rude and say something about how they didn't get it.
They did do a good job of just going with the flow.
But yeah, I love to go with the flow, man.
Yeah, sorry guys. At least we're on track now, right?
It has been quite a journey from starting out with all that primary tension.
And then using nonverbal communication, like when you guys would all stare at me to get us back on track. That still kind of happens, but it's definitely improved.
To finding our leader, that was a really big step for us.
And then we figured out how all of us emerged into our different roles. Knowing that helped with the communication of the group.
The fact that Stuart and I didn't really know what was going on in the first half of our group work really affected our whole group. But as soon as we let the rest of the group know, it really was a changing factor for all of us.
Unfortunately, sometimes I felt like I was getting hit by a car because I had no idea what was going on.
When you guys told us what was going on, it really helped us get back on track.
We were definitely a much more cohesive group once you told us.
Our group climate has changed dramatically, and because of it, our social dimension has also increased, allowing us to get more work done.
Because social dimension and task dimension are correlated.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Now that we are a cohesive group and our synergy is really high, we are able to help each other and build off each other in times of need.
And we lived happily ever after.
You'd have to get it really quick because I don't think I can actually climb it.
All right, I have it all in the shot.
Ready?
Yep. Get out of the shot.
Oh, I got all these little things on me. Sorry, Hamlin.
Turn and pose for the camera. Ready? All right, sleeping. When I say action, count to 3 and then turn, okay?
Okay.
Action. Okay, do it again.